Alright guys, back with another video. We got the Subaru up again. As you can see, we got a lot tore apart on it. I'm trying to get all the wires and stuff out of the way. As you can see here, this harness this is one that comes off the fuse box here. This fuse box was bolted over here. So if you move all this stuff and take all your wiring out and everything, all I did is there's a 10mm bolt right there for a ground. It's a ground to ground to go from the body ground to the engine ground. I just took that off and bolted that to that. Used a zip tie right around there, around a couple other things. Now your main fuse box is out of the way. And you're not, I mean, it probably would have been fine here, but if somebody would have hit this corner, it could have broke it and took you out. So I moved it up here, and then these are the wires coming off. And there's two wires here. See that big one we chopped off there, right here? It comes over here about somewhere in here in the fender, and it goes down underneath the rad support, whole way across over to the ABS unit. Now I took that completely out and I cut it, and I made sure the car started, and it does run fine without it and everything. So all I'm going to do then is I got to tape it up yet, just to, that way nothing's arcing out. But we're going to tape it up, and then this is the main harness that runs in that powers the fuse box. It goes to another fuse box inside, up under the dash. But if you cut a big hole like I did right here, smash it up out of the way, then you can just plug it right back in and it's ready to go. The radiator, I'm going to try and sit it back in a little bit, but I don't think it's really going to work. But I took the condenser. Condenser actually goes inside here. We took that out. I'm going to put it on the outside before I do my bumper and stuff. I'll probably get a little thinner one because it's probably going to be pretty close to where the bumper bolts. I might even put a set of shocks in there, just something to weld to. But I got all this stuff, the cowl vent panel and stuff removed. I'm changing the spark plug wires. I have new NGKs I had laying around. These things are shot, whatever's on here, and the spark plugs on this I'm probably going to put 4 new in because they look pretty rough. I cleaned them up, but it does start better and stuff, but they're pretty rough. So we got to get 2 fenders because, I mean, it really don't matter. I could run them, but I want something that's just, that way I can weld the front door shut. And I'm going to get them at work, so they'll be free. I'll just get ones that are damaged, no big deal. But we'll get the rad put back in, and then what I'm going to do, I think the tranny lines on this are on that side of the tranny, because they run over there. You can see right there's 1, there's 2, and then you run up the loop around the battery, in front of the battery, and then they go back through. So I'm just going to cut them somewhere over in here where they're good. I'm going to bring them over in here and mount a tranny cooler somewhere in here. Keep it away from the intake though, you know what I mean? So I'm going to find a spot for that. I might even end up extending it and just bringing it over this way, making a bracket or something. Just that way it's out of the way. And then we're going to put some heavy oil in this because this has a little bit of a knock for like 200,000 on it. So I'm probably going to put some 1540 or 1040 in it. And we had to get 2 new. I guess didn't switch the wheels yet. We're going to put these on the back. The reason they're on the front now is because they wouldn't fit on, or they fit, I got 15-inch back there. They were supposed to go in front and they won't clear the calipers. So I had to go to work and we bought 16-inch steels. So I got to take them off. I got 2 of them. We're going to put them on the front. And then I'll just grab an extra dummy for a spare, that way if we need for the front, maybe even 2, or just get another one from work. But I got 2 tires back here, 2 to go on it. One's a winter, one's like an all-season tread, but I really don't care. I'm just the same. I'm going to go out there and just have fun, smash, see how much it'll take and how much damage it'll do. So, but I didn't do anything else on the inside yet. I got to figure something out for that shifter. You see how it goes like over, down, then back over. That's going to be hard to hit gears. I mean, not necessarily, but it's going to be a pain in the ass. So I think I'm going to take it off and make my own shifter. I might even use one that's over there. So we'll probably use that. I'm going to get the shifter cable hooked up to that, or I might even have to get another shifter cable, I don't know. But I mean, I'm just trying, biggest thing on these, when you, any car, I mean, Subaru ain't too bad. I actually like how they're in here. There's a lot of room, but you just gotta move your stuff. You gotta keep your wires out of the way. You know, the more you do to them, the better you're gonna do. I mean, not necessarily, I can't say everybody drives the same or different. Everybody is different in driving, but you know, the more you do to the car, the better chance you'll have. I'm not saying go out and spend crap tons of money, but you know, if you just let your wiring in there, if I wouldn't have took the wiring out and somebody hit me on that fender, it would have killed this car. Shut it off, shorted everything out, and then who's going to go buy a wire harness for an old Subaru and put in to run for a derby car? You know, unless you have like 10 of them sitting around. But it still makes no sense to leave it in. And you know, like your anything else that you think's important. You know, if you're like this, I don't know what this is. I mean, I did some research into it. I probably would if you pay attention, follow the wire. It's probably something for the AC, or you know, it could be. It looks like it runs into this thing here and goes down in. I mean, you could even unplug it, start the car up, make sure it still starts and runs without it. I mean, let it run a minute. Don't just start it. Okay, it starts, shut it off. Let it run a minute. Make sure everything's good. You know, maybe even put it in gear, move it, just make sure it'll move and stuff. And then you know, hey, I don't need that. If it's not hurting the engine in any way, you know, especially when it's warm or cold, and you really don't need it. That's like a whole harness that ran down along here. We didn't need it, so I cut it. There's no point in running extra wires if you don't need it. You can just short stuff out, and you know, it might not give you an issue at the moment, but if it shorts out and goes back in and blows fuses, or you never know, maybe it arcs out real bad and it takes another fuse or something out, and then you're sitting there again, you're done. But just trying, like I said, I just try and get everything on the motor back. Like, what's nice is there used to be a big air box. You take that air box out of here. I'm going to put a 90 on here, I think, over this way with a little tiny filter. Don't got to be nothing special, just so it's out of the way. And then maybe put like a piece of rubber around it from the top side, just that way if the radiator hose over here does blow, it won't suck it all right in the motor. You know, because it'll be essentially sucking air from back there. And I know it's still going to be sucking hot air, but there's nothing you can really do about it. I mean, I can put the stock air box on, it's actually right there. But it's just so bulky. I mean, look how much room it freed up back here. But, other than that, that's about it. I did start running my cables, but I'm going to have to put a new negative. This guy here is too short, so I didn't hook the positive up yet. It's right here. I just have it stuck down there so I know I got enough wire and it runs clear inside, so we'll use that one for the positive. I gotta get a negative yet, which I have. It's just, I gotta get these cars tore apart. I got cars sitting around that need tore apart and junked and taken back to where I got them from. So we gotta get on that. And the bumper, I think on this here, I think I'm gonna use a pointy, I think it's a front bumper off like a 70s Grand Marquis, or 70s Ford bumper. It ain't nothing special, it's rusty on the back. I don't know, it come off that one car on that channel. It was a Grand Marquis, I think. It was a 70s Marquis on the channel. I kept the bumper and it was pretty rusty, but I mean, it's still solid, but we ended up cutting the ends off, so we shortened it a little bit for another car. And I think what I'm going to do is put a shock in there, weld the shock, and then weld the bumper to the shock. That way then I know it'll hold, and then it's got a good bumper up front. And we have spare axles for the front. I think we have both of them. I gotta check, make sure it'll work, because this is a little newer Subaru. But then we're gonna put the dummies back on here, and we'll put them 16s on the front, and then I'll have to get another spare. And then look at that plastic bumper. Anything like that, take it off. You don't need a crazy bumper on these. Like, to be honest, I could take the front bumper and probably weld it on there and make it work, but really, actually, I'll tell you what's really good to put on these, even any car. Crown Vic rear bumper. Anything off of a, even clear up to 2010 when they quit making them. Anything from like a 90, I think it's 98. Yeah, 98 up to 2010. The rear bumpers, all it is a rebar that goes across. It's a straight rebar. Hey, George.
What are you working?